All right, welcome everyone to Chicago Football Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Letizia. Follow me on Twitter at CFC Bears. Joined by my co-host Luke O'Grady. Follow me on Twitter at Luke O'Grady. We're going live here today. Luke, that was, I would say, the best the Bears have looked all year, right? Like, that was, I don't think anyone expected anything quite like that performance. I know I tweeted out before the game, predictions. Everyone from CFC, all four of us had the Bears losing. 90% of the people replied at the Bears losing. That was pretty fun. Well, what are your instant reactions?
Could it have gone any better?
I don't think so.
I don't know if there's a single box that didn't get checked. It looked great. I mean, a thousand things looked really good. I tell you what, man, the thing that was most encouraging, I don't know.
Yeah.
Were the Patriots outcoached tonight?
I think that's a conversation we have to have, right?
I mean, as far as to say that the Bears looked, the word I wrote down, prepared, exclamation point. We've been in those games 100 times with Matt Nagy, maybe not 100, especially coming out of bye weeks or those little mini bye weeks.
Yep.
And look completely flat with Nagy. It didn't look like that at all, man. The
Bears,
the scripted plays from Getty off the hop looked really good. Not only that, but this was like the first time that we got to see this regime like kind of step back and like evaluate and say, okay, we've got this tape now. What are we doing well? What are we doing wrong? Who's in? Who's out? And like retweak it. And like I think the people that started were the people that like, the fans that are a little bit more in the know would agree probably should have started. And the scheme looked so different. They were so willing to let Fields run tonight and build off that. They were like they got Fields on the move a lot. They even had some plays where I think it maybe looked like Mustafa or some other people were really out of place, but I think they were actually just like setting up like a different, almost a place for the pocket. Yeah. Especially considering how quickly Fields like left the pocket, or at least the original pocket. But man, I thought like the coaching was really, really encouraging tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Bears played like a team who everyone expected them to lose. And everyone's been talking about them losing and how bad they play in primetime games and they've been hearing that for 2 weeks or a week and a half now, and they played like they were pissed off and then wanted to. And I want to get back to what you said about Luke Getsy and the offense, getting Justin Fields on the move, doing those design QB runs, and not only design QB runs, but QB power. Which I really love. That's what like the Ravens do that with Lamar Jackson. It's what we've been wanting them to do with him all year, and they finally did it. And it's not a coincidence that they did it. Great. And the Bears had their best offensive performance all year. That's what the offense looks like when you put your quarterback in a position to succeed, and not vice versa. And they weren't doing as many second and long runs. They did a few, which is still annoying. But
they did do a few.
They did a few, but they did when they did it. It almost made sense.
Exactly. You need to run a couple times in the game.
Yeah, just to keep the defense honest, but you can't do it all the time. And yeah, that's exactly like I said. It's not a coincidence that the Bears look the best they have offensively. Looked really good defensively too, but the defense really hasn't been the issue all year. But yeah, Justin Fields made some great throws early on. It seemed like we had the first 2 drives, and it seemed like the Bears had that first drive. They were driving, they had a couple nice plays, and then they kind of shot themselves in the foot with I think it was a false start, and then the Monty dropped pitch. Yeah, and it looked like, okay, here we go. This is going to be another Bears game where we do some things good, and then we shoot ourselves in the foot. And but they turned it around and they kept it going. And I have to give a lot of credit to Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy. I do think they outcoached Bill Belichick, which is not many coaches.
I think this is like 5 out of 7 games now that we've blanked our opponents in the second half.
Yeah,
like it's legit. Like this. Say what you will about this team, but the Patriots were a lot more talented tonight, and they got run over.
Yep,
you have to be coaching when things like that happen. Yeah, I thought some other things I thought this was Brisker's best game of the season by far. Mm-hmm. I thought Kyler Gordon played pretty all right too. Yep. I actually thought the rep where he got that pick was actually like not even the best rep from him, but he showed some athleticism and some playmaking. Yeah. Armand Watts started, and I thought he looked good. Justin Jones had his best game as a Bear by far. Justin Jones played great. Go ahead.
I would still like to see more pass rush from the defensive line. I know Armand Watts played well and Justin Jones played well, but I still need to see more pass rush. I mean, that was my one complaint. We won't get too much into that because I know I want to talk about more exciting stuff, but one complaint is they didn't get enough pass rush. But yeah, when you're talking about Jaquan Brisker and Kyle Gordon, we can talk about that a little bit. Definitely, probably Jaquan Brisker's best game because I thought he's been kind of sliding a little bit. He's been caught out of position a lot, and people really haven't been talking about a lot. But I mean that pick was incredible. That one-handed catch. He almost was in too good a position. He almost overran it.
I know he was early,
but he got it. And with Kyle Gordon, I didn't really see. I mean, it's hard to tell on the broadcast, but I didn't really see a lot of him until that pick, which is a good thing for cornerback.
Exactly. It's not seeing them. Kim Neville had a really nice game.
Yeah.
Just because you don't hear about him. Jalen Johnson had a couple of bad reps, but he also had some really, really nice reps. Pettis was returning punts. Which actually is kind of like annoying because it's kind of like almost really worrisome when it comes to Velus Jones. They had this time to kind of review the roster, and N'Keal Harry coming back healthy, and ESB and all them still there, and Dante Pettis kind of coming on. Velus is kind of looking like the odd man out for a third-round pick. Maybe it's got to learn the offense and stuff like that, but Byron Pringle is going to come back to this team too, and it's really going to you got to wonder where Velus Jones is going to fit in.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to be a gadget guy, which it sucks to have your third-round pick be a gadget guy, but I think that's kind of what he is, and I think that's what a lot of people thought he was going to be when he was drafted. But if you do have a gadget guy, you're going to have to get him the ball somehow, and they didn't do that today either. But again, I don't want to focus too much on the negatives because we spent all the last 6 weeks focusing on negative stuff and talking about. Let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about Justin Fields.
Yeah, so for my count, I had 2 plays that I thought were fully you cannot do, backbreaking. I thought the fumble when he was running, and then the funny hitting that guy in the head or getting the ball out at the line of scrimmage again. The only reason I give that so bad is because it was red zone.
Yeah.
I had a couple of whatever plays, like some of those little spit throws to the outside that he was one hopping and taking a sack maybe when he should have. But for the most part, I thought he had some I thought he played a really good game.
Yeah, when it comes
poised.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to Justin Fields, I'm not too concerned about the individual throws because I know he can make all the throws in the NFL. So I don't really care that much about that. What I want to see him is going through his progression and, like you said, looking poised in the pocket. And I think those 2 things he did consistently today.
You know what? I completely agree with you. I look at the throw to Mooney, the one that he overthrew on the sideline, but he was taking that whole shot on the cover 2, or might have been man on the outside. Either way. Yeah. And I thought, to be honest, it just looked like a guy that hasn't got to really step up and crow hop into a good deep ball in a while without worrying about the line, and he was out of the pocket and looked really comfortable. I think he just kind of got antsy. But I would say time tonight, he looked like he was trusting that line and he was willing to go through his motions. There was that third down, I think, in the third quarter where he came all the way back to ESB on the left side and picked up the first down. That was just awesome, and the line held up really nicely.
Yeah, and that was only a 7, 8, 9 yard gain or something, but it was one of his most impressive plays because he went through the entire progression. He went through his 3rd or 4th progression. And the ball to Mooney, I'm really interested to watch that one again because live, I didn't think it was too bad. And he wasn't wide open, but I want to see if maybe he could have thrown that earlier because if he puts a lot of air under that, there wasn't that much room to kind of drop that in. So, but I mean, I want to see that one again. But yeah, they're going through the progressions. The ball to Mooney towards the sideline on 3rd and was that 3rd and 13 or something like that?
Yeah, he's rolling out and he kind of pump fakes the deep one and then comes back to Mooney.
That was great.
That was a really nice one.
The ball to Komet down the sideline where
so I had 2. I had 2 special plays. That was one.
That was definitely a special play. And then a couple where again just making stuff happen with his feet on 3rd down. Pocket maybe collapses a little bit, and no one's open, and he just makes something out of nothing. And you're gonna have to deal with him doing. That's great, but because of that, you're gonna have to deal with him taking unnecessary sacks from time to time.
100%.
Because then on the next play, he'll scramble for 15 yards and make 2 guys miss, and it's incredible. So he's gonna take unnecessary sacks. It's just part of his game. It just is what it is at this point. But he also makes the amazing plays to make up for it. And he just has to start making those amazing plays more often. And that's exactly what happened today. He started making those, maybe not over the last couple of weeks, really, just more consistently making those amazing plays and less consistently making those bonehead plays. So
and
it's an upward trajectory at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say the things that he did today were like, some of the bigger plays he'd do in the other games were like broken play stuff. But some of the stuff that he did today there was some really encouraging stuff in system, like trusting the line, like he didn't look antsy, moving through his progressions, like taking the first or second read when it's there, and then when he did have to break the pocket tonight, I thought his misses were actually some I know it's funny to say, but he had better miss. You can have good and bad misses. I thought if he had a lot of those balls where it's like if my guy's not gonna catch it, no one's gonna, and that's okay. Like we don't hate that, especially as a guy going into second season, going into Foxborough against Bill Belichick. I thought I don't think you can speak any higher of this was by far the best performance. I think expectation wise of Fields' career. The Steelers game last year was a lot of fun, but I just thought Fields managed the game so well.
Yeah, I think in the Steelers game last year, he made more like big time throws. But I just like the way that he kind of played within the rhythm of the offense and hit the guys when they're open and take what the defense gives him. And the design QB runs are such just an exciting thing to see because it's what we've been asking for, and it worked so well. And I know the one thing I thought of when I wrote down when I was watching is he had two wide receiver screen passes that weren't great. And he's all year kind of missed those little wide receiver screens. I'm just like, why don't we just scrap those from the playbook? Like that's not what he does well. I know it seems like it should be an easy throw, but he just doesn't do that well.
It seems like it's tougher for us.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. I think but I just think take those out of the playbook and just put in more design QB powers. If you those wide receiver screens are just designed.
Scored on one.
That's true. That one,
and that was a little one of those like Justin kind of was that one compensating for the fact that they have been like screaming bass and blocking those a lot with him.
They ran that same play earlier in the game, and Judon or the other guy, whoever that was on that side, batted it down the first play. Same exact play, same exact formation, and he anticipated him jumping that route, and then did a little pump fake with the sidearm. That was also a special play, if you ask me. Interestingly, that the Bears don't have their left Braxton Jones or their tackles kind of cut blocking there to kind of get the defenders on the ground. That's usually how those plays are run. The Bears don't do it that way, but anyway, the play to Herbert was really nice, and I think that was another play that's it seems like it seems stupid a little bit to talk about like a wide receiver screen being a great play by our quarterback, but it is. I mean, not every quarterback makes that throw, so it was really nice to see. I thought the offensive line played better than what they have in the past.
Having the right people and the right personnel as well helped.
Lucas Patrick got hurt pretty early and Musfer had to come back in, but I think overall they did play better. Schofield, I think, played well. Someone asked the question, thoughts on Michael Schofield. I don't think Riley Reif played, but Michael Schofield started left guard. I thought he played pretty well watching from the broadcast angle. I also think it really helps with the running those QB powers again and getting those design QB runs helps the offensive line. They did more play action today, I believe. I'll have to look at the stats, but I think they did more play action, which helps the offensive line. And they're also running the ball effectively, which also helps the offensive line. But overall, I think they played well. Larry Borum had a few tough snaps against Matt Judon, but Matt Judon is also one of the better pass rushers in football, so it's hard to really blame him there. But I did think Michael Schofield played well, and unless Lucas Patrick is out for the season or seriously injured, I would be shocked if that's not your starting five.
Broadcast.
Yeah, probably some turf toe or something. But that's probably your starting five for the rest of the year.
And man, if you think about it, like especially now what we know about Tevin Jenkins at the guard position, if you eliminate injuries from that line so far this year, if you're starting five for the Bears for the rest of the year, or at least even at the start of the year, would have been Larry Borum, Cody Whitehair, Lucas Patrick, Tevin Jenkins, and Braxton Jones. Like that really isn't so bad. It's the fact that we had Mustafa at center and Patrick at guard for the whole year that the line was looking as bad as it was. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that the same thing can be said about the receiver room. I think that when we have some injuries to that room with some of the people we needed to contribute, it looks bad. But once you get healthy, like we said, Velus Jones is now kind of like your fourth biggest contributor. And that's not so bad if he's a guy that you can manufacture touches to, because you have a good player in Byron Pringle. ESB has looked good. Dante Pettis has looked good when you can get touches for him. And who am I missing? And Darnell Mooney. I mean, I think the last 3 or 4 games has kind of eased into that role we expected him to see.
Yeah, Mooney's really stepped up over the last few games, which is really good to see. N'Keal Harry got some action today. He only caught one pass, but he was playing a lot. And like I said, we're getting Byron Pringle back soon too. So that's just going to help everyone because it just moves everyone down one spot. I think Dante Pettis has played well for the most part besides the drops. He is going to drop some. He has dropped some passes, but he is one of the few guys who can get open for one coverage. So
he's good.
So you got to just kind of live with
game, man.
I mean, I don't think he's probably not. I mean, I'm not going to praise Dante Pettis. He's probably not going to be on the team next year, but he's going to be. He's what you got now, and you got to work with that.
Keep Dante Pettis as your 4th or your 5th, and let him return punch and manufacture some handoffs and some shot plays to him. He has been completely. He's been a spark for sure on this team, despite the fact that he's also come with some bad plays as well. There's been the lack of good plays has made it evident that he's made a couple of them. I don't know if you noticed this, but Jack Sanborn started at the other linebacker spot. They basically always play 5 DBs now. They basically always come out with Gordon basically as their extra linebacker. But when they did go 3, it was Jack Sanborn out there, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I did notice that. That was interesting, and it's well deserved from Sanborn. He played really well in the preseason, so it's the next man up there with Joe Thomas and Matt Adams both being injured. So good for him. I mean, like you said, we don't play a lot of 3 linebackers, so he didn't get a lot of
the 2
real
linebackers
playing time,
that we do played great today. I think Roquan has now strung 3 games, I think, together in a row of playing really good football, man.
Yeah, 3 games in a row and like 3 out of 4 too. He had like one okay game kind of mixed in there, but he's trending in the right direction too. It's going to take him. He's learning a new defense, living in a new position.
Yeah.
It was going to take him some time, and with a guy like Roquan, you don't forget how to play football. Like he's a good football player. It's just a matter of time before everything clicks with him and he starts doing what he's doing now these last couple of weeks and playing really well. So that's good to see. Anyone else on the defense kind of stand out? I know we got the 2 picks from the young guys, which we talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
That was really nice to see. Dominic Robinson, I thought, was kind of just always showing up.
Yeah.
He didn't really make one. I mean, he had the deflection on the Roquan Smith interception.
He made a nice play.
Kind of around the ball,
back out to the flat too on one of those last minute drives. Just every plays actually across the board. I thought Travis Gibson had a really nice quarterback disruption, like on a second tempo rush. Like when you kind of you lose your first rep, but then just stand with the play. He got involved with the play.
Yeah.
But no, man, I think that should be if you're a Bears fan, that could not have gone any better. It also just kind of showed you the formula of what a Justin Fields or what this Justin Fields led Matt Eberflus team is going to have success on, and it's going to be things like Justin Fields looking calm and composed in an offense, taking what the defense gives them, but because they have to defend things like a quarterback power and things like that, there should always be opportunities to manipulate openings for him. He's going to make a handful of big plays every game that put you in a position to win where other quarterbacks probably can't. And that defense looked aggressive and feisty today. We took the ball away 4 times. If you can play like that, you can compete against any team in the league. I mean, I know that's not the Chiefs or the Bills out there, but
Patriots
that's what the formula is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots aren't slouches by any means, especially not defensively. So putting 33 points could have been more points if we were still trying there at the end. It's pretty impressive, and
that's a Patriots team that was streaking. They were 2-0 with a new quarterback. They decided to bench Mac Jones and come back to that quarterback, and he goes and rips off 14 points in his first 2 drives. The Bears could have easily folded there when they went down 14-10, and instead they ripped off 23 points unanswered to end the game. That's really encouraging. That's a team that had every business in the world to beat this Bears team at home, rip off 3 wins in a row and start to get hot themselves. And instead, a really, really well-coached football team from Chicago came in and beat their asses.
Yep. I 100% agree with you. That's a game that in the past, with past head coaches, they fold. But this team has shown that they don't fold when the going gets tough. And it's also a team that's shown that they can they make adjustments at halftime too. Like you said, with the points scored after halftime, that's something that we haven't seen in the past. So I think the coaching staff has been very impressive all season, even in the bad games. they've shown some things, an ability to make adjustments. So I'm really happy with the way that this coaching staff has handled this team.
Yeah,
no one's going to say that this Bears team has a ton of talent. So the fact that we're 3-4 and we've beaten, two good teams, two probably, borderline one playoff team in the 49ers, one maybe borderline playoff team in the Patriots is pretty impressive. And one thing in the last few years that people always complain about, myself included, is the Bears, struggled offensively, but they just didn't have an identity. But this Bears team has an identity. It's a team that's going to run the football. I might not love the identity but I wish we threw the ball more, but it's our identity. We run the football. We play solid defense. We don't turn the ball over, and we just play tough, and that's our identity. And I think that's a formula where you can win, especially, maybe this year. Going forward after this year, you probably have to throw the ball a little bit more, but I don't know. It seems to me like it's
an offense that'll build fun plays off of the teams, like having to defend so many different types of runs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes, I was wondering about that.
I was wondering about that too.
Insanely fast.
Yeah, I actually didn't know who the guy who's running him down was. I was like, wow, Gordon! I can't believe Gordon got caught from behind, because Gordon's not slow.
I went back and
but that makes sense.
4 times because
that makes sense that it was Kai.
He does an all right job closing the gap. It's kind of a bad throw, but it's an athletic play, and it's the guy showing up in the moment. But he did that receiver chased him down.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Tyler Gordon. I didn't realize that was him. That makes a lot more sense now because Kyle Gordon's pretty fast himself. So I thought that was a pick six all the way. But can't really blame Gordon for that. Still a good play. Thanks, Donald, for pointing that out. I didn't know who that was. That was Tyquan Thornton back there.
But yeah, man, I thought I don't know. It's one of those things where last week we were convincing ourselves we were happy because we were going to get a better draft pick, and now it's easy to see. This is it's something you can look at and say, okay, that's what the vision of what a good team is going to look like in the future. That was the glimpse of what a great, Justin Fields team should look like. Especially too, if he settles in and hits a couple of those throws, it'll probably be a little bit more open once you get some better linemen and receivers around him.
Mm-hmm.
It was encouraging.
Definitely, and it's definitely like you said. We were kind of happy that we lost last week because we'd get a better draft pick, and I spent the last week and a half watching pretty much every draft prospect I could, and now I think this week I'll probably spend a little bit more time watching all 22 of the Bears and less time watching draft prospects.
You'll look at the playoff standings and go, man, the NFC North kind of sucks.
I know. I'm trying not to do that, but I know Big Cat tweeted out something like, I'm looking at the Bears' remaining schedule and trying to find a path to the playoffs, and I'm like, maybe I should do that. The Packers aren't good. The Packers aren't as good as I thought they were going to be. The Vikings are good, but maybe we
get hot for the
card.
playoffs. You don't want to be the team like the Eagles. Remember in 2018 when we were 12-4 and the Eagles made the playoffs to the wild card and won the Super Bowl?
That's true. I don't know if we want to talk about the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying, all you got to do is get hot for 3 games in January.
That's so true. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of how we respond next week. I actually don't have a schedule for who do we play next week.
That's a good question. A bit of a short turnaround.
Yeah.
I actually remember seeing someone tweet about this. I think maybe we play the Jets next, or no?
It's
we play the Cowboys next.
Cowboys next.
Yeah.
Dak didn't look that good.
That'll be a good test. It's in Dallas, but the Bears fans travel really well. The Dallas defense is legit. The Cowboys offense is kind of slumping. The Dallas Cowboys and the Lions both kind of look kind of yucky this week.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting to see the Bears inside on turf. I think
they have had a lot of really bad weather.
We've had a lot of outdoor rain games, I feel like, this year. At least 3.
You know what? Bears Cowboys Sunday at 1 p.m. or maybe noon where you are. That's a really fun game. That's going to be a fun game, especially after this week, the way we performed. There's going to be a lot of fun analysis heading into this week. This will be a good week. Bears fans will have a fun week of football. Yeah, and the Cowboys are good. So, I'm not expecting them to come out and look the same way and blow out a team 33-14, the Cowboys 33-14 next week. I'm not expecting that, but I do want them to build on this performance. They don't have to put up another 30 points, but, score
three touchdowns, a couple field goals, something like that, and just move the ball consistently and continue to get Justin Fields out on the move. Continue to use his legs as a weapon. Just continue to build. That's all I'm asking for this year. I don't think we're gonna make the playoffs. We're not winning the Super Bowl. I just want
to make the playoffs, but I tell you what, earlier in the year, I really committed to Justin Fields being my fantasy quarterback pretty much across the board. So the last couple of games have actually been really encouraging.
Well, you're a better Bears fan than me because I drafted Justin Fields and dropped him after like week 2. So he's probably still in the waiver wire. I could probably still pick him up.
100%. No, I needed him to come through for me for 2 leagues this week, and he had like 20 points at half, and it was like, let's go, Justin.
It's better than me. I started Dak Prescott this week and got me like 14.
Yeah.
So.
But no, it'll be good, man. It'll be. I would love to see just a nice classic quarterback duel. When was the last time the Bears got in a nice quarterback shootout? Run a
we haven't had a quarterback.
A couple of your deep shots early, and you can get into a real fun little game.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, cool. I think we'll probably sneak in a preview show before the next one as well, right?
Yes, we should. So I am, if you couldn't tell, I'm not in my house. I'm at a hotel. I'm traveling for work, but I should have some time. So we'll probably still plan for our Thursday pregame show. I'm going to see if I could do like an all 22 breakdown. I don't know. I'm not promising anything because, like I said, I'm working this week.
That's a little weird.
But yes, we should be. I'll be traveling on Thursday. So maybe a Wednesday one. We'll talk about that.
We'll figure it out. Cool.
But we should have something. And so stay tuned for that. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for the questions, thoughts. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Until next time, bear down, everyone.
Bear down.